Thank you all for doing this, first of all.
Pleasure,
Um,
thank you.
Again, Rebecca, I really like the film and I like all your films, and I love both of your
So much.
works. And everyone here's got a little bit of experience with romantic comedies or romantic dramas. And I imagine, once you do one, you get sent 20 worse ones. So, how do you kind of know when you see another thing that you want to do? Because I'm sure the radar is up for, I already did that. I don't want to do that. I've done that 10 times. How do you make sure that you get something new and something that excites you? Because if you're not excited, why, kind of why do it?
But it's very rare, and this is so unique that you can't even that analogy just doesn't even apply. It's just this was its own unique package, not like anything else. So there's
Oh, yeah.
no hesitation.
Lately, a question that I've been asking is not just have I done this before, but have I seen anybody do this before?
Sure.
And the answer in so much with regards to the screenplay, the answer again and again was nope, 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 nope. And I loved the screenplay while I was reading it. And then when I got to Rebecca's description of the last shot in the film,
Yeah.
I didn't have any resistance left, whatever was left was just cracked open. My heart just exploded. I was so happy reading it. And anyway, I've been attached to this project for a couple of years now, and so my film knowledge has increased since then. And one of the films I watched to prep for this one was Viridiana, and so I think it's pretty cool that our film can be discussed in the same conversation as Buñuel, that can be discussed in the same conversation as Fellini and Rebecca Miller, and I think that she's really earned a spot in it. And those are, I mean, incredible, complex films. They defy easy categorization. So maybe a long-winded way of answering your question is I'm a real fan of mixed tone films that defy categorization and are really hard to sell. So if you want to help us out with that, that'd be wonderful. Thank you so much.
Listen, I see 300 of these a year. Mixed tones and hard to sell is what makes me not go, okay, this is fine. Like,
I feel the exact same way,
Yeah.
but it's hard to, at
it's
least we
true.
can-
You also want to pay your rent. So, I mean, not that you have a problem, but and Rebecca, we had a whole conversation with Bryce just about the music of the film, which how many times, within the genre, or even just on like sort of the budgetary level, you don't usually get to have that kind of conversation because it's not an afterthought necessarily, but it's just that's something we can't worry about kind of
No,
thing.
music was in the root of it, it wasn't in just the leaves. It was the root of the whole thing. And talked to Bryce, early on, he had to compose the operas, two final scenes to two original operas, and he had to, completely, compose those things. And we pre-recorded, although we used a lot of live singing before we even started shooting. And it was extraordinary. And it was also part like a character in the movie in the sense that it's really reflecting Peter's character.
Yeah. No, when we were talking about it with him, just the idea of the amount of music and how important it is. And, it's one thing to be like, hey, stop playing with Taylor Swift for a minute. I've got a score you got to do. But it's also, you have to do a believable opera. Also, it has to kind of build to a Springsteen song, and it has to make sense, and it has to play in this very specific way. So the fact that it works so well it's not just the music, it's the filmmaking as well, because it can't possibly be. And I mean, Marisa, you have experience with a movie ending on a Springsteen song. That one did well too. So, good luck there.
The wrestler.
I know what he's talking about. That's really cute. It's horrible that you think I don't know everything about you.
Just in case. No, I imagine like for you guys, when you're making it, obviously the music is sort of in the background more, but once it's done and you kind of hear it come together, as opposed to just seeing it, it's got to feel kind of beautiful in a way to be like, oh, wow, it's that, as opposed to, what so many other films would have done with that same material.
Well, thankfully, our film was so satisfying in the way that it did, and that I don't think about those films that don't exist yet. But I can tell you that the joy of being, what was the space that we shot in? That was the Opera House?
The Palace, United Palace.
The United Palace, which if anybody watching this is ever coming to New York and you're looking for something that's maybe not on every to-do list or every must-see list, this place actually you can't miss. It's so beautiful when you get inside of it. And that's where the operas were staged. And we just got to hang out at this really beautiful place that's unlike any other I've ever been, and just listen to that score being sung in that way all day. I mean, it was kind of like being in heaven. It was really surreal and strange and gorgeous. And the music is so beautiful. That opera, Hurry, Hurry. I mean, I'm a big music lover, and I'm still not tired of it. It's like a living thing for me. It's the essential stuff, you know?
No,
No,
totally.
it really is. It's a huge part of it. And when we watch it, like when you watch a screening and it's got decent sound, it's definitely a reason to go to the cinema to see this movie. The music really works in a very big way.
Can I just nerd out for 1 second? And also the evolution of Stephen as a composer.
Yeah.
You know, that because while the opera that he writes, the first opera, She Came to Me, right?
Yeah.
is so good. Where Hurry Hurry gets to is so much deeper, and it's so expanded, and it's so reflective of his journey. And then I'm done.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's like he had to do a character, evolve these operas as the character evolves. It's fun.
Oh no, and it shows in the film. And also lifelong New Yorker. Like I live in Brooklyn. I'm doing this in a school in Queens right now, and then I'm going to Geffen Hall for the Maestro screening. So I'm hitting all the boroughs today. So I've got my street. But no, it's true. It's like there's something. It also is a very New York movie. Like and I think Rebecca, you've done it before, but it feels like maybe your most New York one, and it's very kind of in the bones of you recognize this guy, and on the surface, I don't know a lot of composers, but you know this guy, and you know these characters, and I think even the teens, like it feels lived in a way that like I think the right New York movie brings out in someone who recognizes like, oh, that movie's happening over here and over here, and like the person who just walked past me is in that movie, and I don't know, it's a feeling I love when I see it, and I don't see it that often, so I love when it happens.
Yeah, well, definitely. New York is a place where you can take a walk, and if you walk long enough, you do run into opera composers and tugboat captains and all sorts of different, therapists and nuns and all sorts of people that don't necessarily always cross paths, but they can cross paths in our city. And, and the movie does also play with different classes and even, and different people from different walks of life and coming together and what happens then. And so it's about, the layer cake of different kind of strata of society in a way.
Oh yeah. I even went to the same high school as your father, just about 75 years.
Oh, really? Abraham
I'm a Lincoln grad. So like it is, when you see it, you kind of know it. And just as we sort of wrap up, how do you know, for all of you, like that you did a good job? Because obviously the work speaks for itself, but you want to like have a good feeling as you're making it. So is it just like Rebecca saying, okay, great, we got it? Or is it something in you going, I feel like we had a really good day? Because I imagine that's kind of the best feeling, because it's the best job in the world. Like the worst day on set is still great, like for real. But when you feel good about it, as opposed to, okay, it was a hard day of work, it's got to feel like really special. And I just think it's so nice to hear about that when it happens,
It's so nice to hear about it when it happens. And as a performer, you can't always trust your compass.
Yeah.
Because there's a million things going on. And very often, the thing that I've just come to realize is that when I'm playing a character, I'm sharing a body and a brain with that person. And sometimes they don't want to feel like they've gotten it. They don't trust that feeling, or it's not important to them, or any of those things. So I actually find that I kind of give it all to the director.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of, I'd like to feel satisfied. I'd like to have that feeling that you mention. And if I can black out during a take, oh my God, I'm thrilled, but if I don't achieve that, if I don't feel like I've levitated, I don't make everybody stand there for 27 hours while we wait for it to happen. I choose my directors very consciously, very, very carefully. And then part of the joy of it is the surrender and the trust and the giving it to them. And when they say, I think we have it, and I don't know if I'm gonna sleep that night anyway. So it might not be because of that.
It's like Martha Graham said, it's a divine dissatisfaction.
That's great. Yeah, and I think that very often the best days didn't feel like the best
No,
days.
exactly.
And you don't, even the director doesn't, because film is an alchemy, right? Like it's what happens in the room plus the camera and what goes through the camera and then comes out. And sometimes something looks like nothing and
Yeah.
you've got the greatest moment in the whole world. So it's like, it is a kind of magic.
For
And
sure.
you're just trying to bring the lightning down, you know?
Well, I mean, the work speaks for itself, and for you, for the actors, you know, the Oscars on your mantle is probably helpful, just in case. But you know, congrats, and I think people are going to really enjoy this because it's like you said, there hasn't been something like this, and why else do you go to the movies except to see something new?
Thank
There
you.
you go.
Thank you so much.
You just said it. Listen to him.
For once, someone will listen to me.